Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our funeral for our good friend Justinian. As a longtime cab rally lead and a friend of Justinian, I would like to say a couple words to remember our friend. Justinian came to us during a time of dire need, time so devastating that cab rally leads were running Nevsky Minamotos. Although he didn't have a chance to be the best rally lead practically ever, but he was the light and salt and the last hope of Cavalry Rally until 2025. And lastly, whoa! How dare you show up to Justinian's funeral, Subutai? You killed him, monster! You killed him! Alright, I can't do this anymore. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Musu Gaming here, and today I want to talk about Justinian. Now, Justinian was a cab rally lead before Subutai came to the game, and he was the best cab rally lead along with Nevsky. So we used to run Nevsky Justinian, but he came into the game when we didn't really have a cab rally lead at the moment. We were actually running either Nevsky Joan of Arc Prime, which is horrible now I think about it, or we were running Nevsky and Minamoto with double relics. Now, back in 2023, when he first came into the game, he basically took over Minamoto's spot and then became basically quote unquote the best rally lead for the game for cavalry. But now, and unfortunately, he really didn't have a moment to shine as much as other rally leads did, like Asher Van der Poel did, like I think even Scipio A or Tarek even Ziad actually had their own time, but then again, Justinian unfortunately didn't really have that time. And now, as of March of 2025, as we have Subutai come into the game, I think it's time for us to let go Justinian, unless you're running Ark of Osiris League, of course, but yeah, so let's just go over everything there is to know about Justinian, starting from history of Justinian as well as his skill set, what was really good about him, what makes him not really good about him, and then why he's no longer the meta. So, as I said before, he came during a very dire time for cab rallies back in 2023. Unfortunately, we didn't really have cab rallies. You can see actually on the left hand corner right here, like we don't really have good cab rally leads. Like Saladin's basically useless. Attila's okay, but we were skill damage meta back then, so he was basically only usable for anti-swarming rallies for cavalry, and the rest of them, Chandragupta, XY, and Bert were just not not really good. So again, we used to run basically this rally right here, Nevsky Joan of Arc Prime. Although Joan of Arc Prime is basically made for field, and then like Minamoto, because Minamoto with double relic was actually pretty good. I think let's just go to a museum and find out. If you look at Minamoto stuff, yeah, he gets like 60% stats buff if you actually get double relic. And then, as you might already know from my previous videos, he does have pretty decent skill damage of about 2300 damage factor in average and 26 damage factor if the 75% chance to deal extra 1200 damage factor, because this is 600 times 2, basically activates. Now, with that said, what made Justinian so good when he first came out was, first, his active skill damage factor was really high. So 2500 damage factor at the time of his release was actually one of the highest damage factor for skill damage commander rally that there was. And then now this also has something else added to it, secondary effect, which is basically if the target's not surrounded, if the target is surrounded, adds 3 troops when calculating effects that factors in number of troops surrounding factors. So if you're attacking a rally alone, you're actually getting the surrounded effect, I believe, for his active skill. And then the target loses 30% of defense. So losing defense, good. Having more surrounded effects, good. Damage factor of 2500, good. He was basically, his first skill is actually really, really good. Now, single target for a single target damage rally lead. His second skill, you can't complain. The 30% defense is nice for cavalry especially, and then it does 5% more damage when outside of territory. It's not amazing, but then again, it's okay. And then cab march speed outside of territory is also very crucial for rally lead, in my opinion. Now, this also gives his third skill gives you 20% health, which is really good. And then their troop also takes 10% normal damage when attacking a city or stronghold. So if you're rally lead, you're going to take less normal damage, which is okay. And his fourth skill, if this commander's troop, this is also an expertise skill. So if this commander's troop is on the map, cavalry troops gets 15% attack, and then whenever you launch a basic attack, you have 30% chance to do extra damage with 100 times whatever number of units that you're surrounding, whether it's 300, which is basically the lowest that you can get with this skill effect right there, to 500. 500? Actually, I don't know. What's the max amount of surrounding bonus that you can get? But yeah. So if you're actually swarming the city along with Justinian, then this would actually scale up a lot more when you're auto attacking, and then it does damage up to 5 troops nearby. So pretty good. Cooldown of 5 seconds is a little bit of a downside of it, but then again, pretty good fourth skill slash active expertise skill. Now, from the look of it, he does sound pretty good, right? I built him with support tree, although I never use him as a primary because I prefer Nevsky to be primary when I'm using Justinian. But you know what made him not what made this what about him that made it so that he was never the number one rally lead in the game was actually the fact that he's missing anything that basically punishes the swarmers. So for example, let's just take a look at what we have for Subutai, right? Subutai has normal damage buff and combo damage buff, and then when it attacks stuff, it burns and then does more normal damage. And when you use it with Attila, who has a lot of counterattack damage bonus from the active skill and normal damage bonus from attack skill, it basically punishes the swarmers as they take so much more counterattack damage as they swarm those rallies. But unfortunately for Justinian doesn't really have any damage mitigation from skill damage from active skill that it receives from swarming, as well as any bonus damage to normal damage or counterattack damage that would actually punish people that are swarming you. So that made this rally very, 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 very swarmable. He was okay when he's in a 1v1 situation. For example, if you had the field 100%, if you ran Nevsky Justinian, that technically had probably one of the better trading ratio than other rallies, other rallies of infantry and archers. Even to this day, I think it should be, because this is just single target damage maximum commander compared to Ashurbanipal and stuff. They still have somewhat of an AoE. So so that's why we never really were able to use Justinian. Again, the fact that we don't have counterattack damage, the fact that we don't have normal attack damage buff, really made him difficult to be used in KVK for rally because, at the end of the day, not having any anti-swarm measures just make it very easy for defenders to just swarm it down. Even if you don't have the fuel, you can just pop out a couple marches and then just like attack it for like one skill cycle and then just return it, you know? So, but now with Attila and Subutai in the game, they're very strong. They have very strong counter swarm measures, as well as their damage to the rally target itself is also much better than Justinian. Nevsky Justinian, that is. So, unfortunately, I think Nevsky is going to the bench or coffin, given that I think the cavalry is headed more towards combo slash normal damage route. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry, Justinian. I loved you. I loved using you. I've used you for a year and a half, for a good year and a half, and I really enjoyed my time with you. I'll still see you in the Ark of Osiris League while I'm actually still building out Subutai. But once I do, I don't know if I'll use you again. I'm sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed my little skit that I had in the beginning. But yeah, if you guys have any other uses for Justinian outside of Ark of Osiris League, please let me know it down in the comment down below. And yep, rest in peace, Justinian. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys all on the next video.